Revolvers have always been the trusty workhorses of the firearm world. They're sleek, powerful, and undeniably reliable. But what if I told you that even the most dependable revolver isn't completely immune to failure? That's right. These seemingly infallible machines have a weak spot. And today, we're going to talk about the #1 mechanical issue revolvers can face: timing problems. Now, I've always been a firm believer in the revolver's reliability. There's just something reassuring about a firearm that doesn't rely on magazines or delicate feeding mechanisms. But as with any machine, revolvers aren't perfect. And if you're a proud owner, or even considering adding one to your collection, you need to understand what can go wrong and how to spot it early. I still remember the first time I saw the dangers of a revolver out of time. A friend fired an old Iver Johnson revolver, and let's just say I came away with a little more than just a memory, a scar near my eye. It was a stark reminder that, as reliable as revolvers are, understanding their mechanics is essential for safety and performance. Stick around and I'll break it all down for you. When it comes to everyday carry, revolvers have always been my go-to recommendation. Why? Because they just work. They're not only powerful, but also simple and dependable. Unlike semi-autos, revolvers don't rely on magazines that can jam or feeding mechanisms that need pristine conditions to function. They operate on a straightforward principle: pull the trigger and the cylinder advances, lining up the next shot. It's that simplicity that makes them reliable. Now I get it, semi-autos have their place, but they come with their quirks: magazine issues, stovepipes, and let's not forget the dreaded limp wristing problem. Revolvers? They don't care if you've got a firm grip or if you're shooting in the rain. They're not affected by those factors, and that's what gives them the edge. But reliability doesn't mean perfection. As much as I love revolvers, they are still machines, and all machines are prone to wear and tear. The one mechanical issue that can creep up, even in the most well-built revolvers, is a timing problem. It's not something that happens often, but when it does, it can turn your trusty revolver into a potential safety hazard. So, while revolvers might not have the same issues as semi-autos, understanding their unique quirks is essential. Knowing what to look for and how to address it can ensure your revolver remains the reliable workhorse you count on. Now let's dive into timing issues, what they are and why they matter. At its core, timing refers to how the cylinder aligns with the barrel when you pull the trigger. When everything's functioning correctly, the cylinder rotates a precise distance, locking a chamber perfectly in line with the barrel's forcing cone. This ensures the bullet travels smoothly into the barrel and out toward its target. But what happens when the timing is off? Imagine a finely tuned clock that starts skipping a beat. The same thing occurs with a revolver when it's out of time. The cylinder doesn't rotate far enough or fails to lock up properly. Instead of a clean alignment, the chamber sits slightly off-center, and that's where the trouble begins. The most obvious sign of a timing issue is when you see debris or shavings flying out the side of the gun after firing. That's because the bullet is being forced into a misaligned barrel, causing bits of lead or jacket material to splinter off. It's not just messy, it's dangerous. I've experienced this firsthand, getting hit by lead splatter from a friend's out-of-time revolver. Trust me, it's not something you want to experience, but the dangers don't stop there. A misaligned cylinder can deform the bullet, affecting its accuracy and potentially damaging the forcing cone. Over time, this wear can lead to cracks or other failures that are expensive and sometimes impossible to fix. The tricky part is that timing issues can be subtle. When shooting in double action, the cylinder's momentum might carry it far enough to lock up before firing. But in single action, the problem becomes more apparent because the cylinder doesn't always lock before the hammer falls. Understanding timing issues isn't just about safety, it's about keeping your revolver in peak condition. Knowing how to spot the signs early can save you from costly repairs and ensure your revolver stays as reliable as the day you bought it. In the next section, I'll explain the real consequences of ignoring these problems and what you can do to prevent them. Stay with me. When timing issues start showing up in a revolver, ignoring them is the last thing you want to do. Trust me, the consequences can be both dangerous and expensive. At first, the signs might seem minor. Maybe some debris sprays out after firing, or you notice slight inaccuracy. But left unchecked, these small issues can snowball into major problems. One of the immediate dangers is the debris itself. When a bullet is forced into a misaligned barrel, it can shave off fragments of lead or jacket material. This debris doesn't just vanish, it flies out the sides of the gun with enough force to injure you or someone nearby. I learned this the hard way when I was a kid. A friend fired an out-of-time revolver next to me, and I ended up with a scar near my eye from a piece of flying lead. It's not just annoying, it's a real hazard. Then there's the damage to the revolver itself. A misaligned cylinder puts immense stress on the forcing cone. Over time, this can lead to cracks, chips, or even complete failure. And here's the kicker. Replacing a damaged barrel is often as costly as buying a new revolver. In some cases, the gun might not even be repairable. But it doesn't stop there. A deformed bullet caused by timing issues won't travel down the barrel properly, leading to accuracy problems. For someone who relies on their revolver for self-defense, that's unacceptable. You need to know that when you pull the trigger, your shot is going to hit its mark. The most severe consequence, though rare, is the possibility of a catastrophic failure, or a kaboom, as it's sometimes called. While it's unlikely for timing issues alone to cause a total blowout, prolonged neglect can push a revolver to its breaking point. The good news is that all of this is preventable. Timing issues don't just happen overnight, they develop gradually. If you catch the signs early and take action, you can avoid the dangers and keep your revolver functioning perfectly. In the next section, I'll share how to diagnose these problems and what you can do to fix them before they escalate. Catching timing issues early can save you a lot of headaches and money. The key is knowing what to look for and how to test your revolver. Thankfully, diagnosing timing problems isn't as complicated as it might seem. One of the easiest ways to spot timing issues is by paying attention to how your revolver performs during single-action firing. When you cock the hammer, the cylinder should rotate and lock perfectly in place before the hammer falls. If the cylinder doesn't fully lock up or seems to hesitate, that's a red flag. This issue is harder to notice during double-action firing because the momentum of the cylinder's rotation can mask the problem. Another telltale sign is debris. If you see small shavings of lead or bullet jacket material spraying out of the revolver's sides when you fire, there's a good chance the cylinder isn't properly aligned. It's not just messy, it's a clear warning that something's off. For a more hands-on test, you can manually check the cylinder's lockup. With the gun unloaded, cock the hammer and gently rock the cylinder back and forth. A properly timed revolver will feel secure, with minimal play. If it feels loose or wobbly, you might have a timing issue on your hands. If you're unsure, don't hesitate to seek help from a professional gunsmith. They have the tools and expertise to confirm whether your revolver is out of time and can advise on the best course of action. Remember, catching these issues early is the best way to keep your revolver safe, reliable, and ready for anything. Next, I'll talk about what to do if you discover a problem and how to prevent it from happening in the first place. Stay tuned. If you discover timing issues with your revolver, don't panic. The good news is that most problems can be fixed, especially if caught early. The first step is to stop using the revolver immediately. Continuing to shoot can cause further damage, making repairs more expensive or worse, unsafe. Your best bet is to take the gun to a professional gunsmith. They'll have the tools and expertise to address the issue. In many cases, the fix involves adjusting the hand, a small part inside the revolver responsible for advancing the cylinder, or replacing worn components. It's a relatively straightforward process, and a skilled gunsmith can have your revolver back in working order in no time. Now let's talk prevention. Regular maintenance is the key to keeping your revolver in peak condition. Start by cleaning and lubricating your revolver after each range session. Pay close attention to the cylinder and forcing cone areas, as dirt and debris can accelerate wear. Another critical step is periodic inspections. Check the cylinder's lockup and alignment as I mentioned earlier. Catching signs of wear before they turn into full-blown problems can save you a lot of trouble. And don't forget to use quality ammunition. Poorly made or out-of-spec rounds can put extra stress on your revolver, increasing the risk of timing issues. Finally, treat your revolver like the precision machine it is. Avoid excessive dry firing without snap caps, as this can cause undue wear. With proper care and attention, your revolver will stay as reliable as the day it left the factory. So, what's the takeaway? Revolvers are some of the most reliable firearms out there, but like any machine, they're not immune to issues. Timing problems, while rare, are the most common mechanical issue you're likely to encounter. The good news? They're easy to identify and even easier to prevent with proper care. We've covered a lot today. from understanding what timing issues are to recognizing the signs and even taking steps to fix and prevent them. If you ever notice signs like debris spraying from the cylinder or a loose lockup, don't ignore them. Addressing the problem early can save you from costly repairs and ensure your revolver stays safe and dependable. Remember, revolvers are built to last. With a little maintenance and attention to detail, they'll serve you reliably for decades. Whether you carry one for self-defense, use it for target shooting, or just enjoy the craftsmanship, understanding how to keep your revolver in top shape is essential. I hope this has been helpful, and if you have any stories or questions about revolver maintenance, drop them in the comments. And if you'd like to see more detailed demonstrations or follow-ups on this topic, let me know. Thanks for sticking around, and until next time, stay safe and keep shooting.